You are listening to the Urban Sports Scene with Wole and Ray, and we are part of Empire Media. Check us out at empiremedia.com. It's now time for HBCU Corner, and our special guest is a native of Washington, D.C. Just clear that up. Who has an amazing resume in both the field of education and in the sport of football. His many accolades include head football coach of Bowie State and Prairie View, where he was credited for one of the greatest turnarounds in program history and in NCAA history. He's also served as the director of football program, the University of Maryland football program, and is currently the head football coach for the Virginia State Trojans. Welcome to the Urban Sports Scene, Dr. Henry Frazier III. Great to have you, Coach. How are you?
Man, it's good to be here. I appreciate you having me.
Hey, man, you got such a long resume, bro. I almost fumbled that over there, man. I couldn't even get to it all, bro. I don't want to discredit you, man. Good stuff, bro.
Yeah, I've been around for a minute.
Hey, no doubt. But before we get started with some real questions, we like to do icebreakers, all right? And I just want to know, growing up, were you a Skins fan like all of us were indoctrinated to be, and who you root for today?
Well, I always root for the home team, but I was actually a Dolphins fan when I grew up. And then when I went to college, and the reason I was because of Bob Greasy. I played quarterback, and Bob Greasy wore those glasses. To me, that seemed like he was just so intelligent. So I was a Dolphins fan. And then when I went to college, and I just went up the street to Bowie State, I met so many people from different places, I became a homer. At that point, when I became a freshman in college, I began Capitals, Bullets, Redskins, Orioles, because we didn't have a baseball team at the time. So I became a homer, and that's where I am now.
Okay, I was Orioles fan too, but I'm a Nationals fan now. Once we got baseball, bro, I jumped ship. And I was a Skins fan for a little bit. I was a Falcons fan growing up. Deion Sanders, brother, Coach Prime now. But Bob Greasy, that's before my time. Dan Marino coached quarterback when I was coming up. But interesting, man. So you still root for the Dolphins?
Nah, I'm a Redskin. I mean, whatever the hell your name is. Oh man, I like it from afar, but I like some of the players, Mark Duper and all those guys, Dan Marino, Tony Nathan, all them guys. But I'm a homer. I'm Washington. Everything Washington.
Oh yes, sir. You going back to the Tecmo Bowl days. All right, well let's get started, bro. As I just mentioned, you're a native of Washington, D.C. So am I. And I see you had history at multiple high school programs in the area, including Central and Bladensburg. I always like to hear about what those experiences were like. But first, show our listeners a little bit about your academic and athletic journey, how to begin, like where did you play football growing up? And yeah, man, like what schools did you attend? I asked you about high school before we came on.
Yeah, I started at a number 13 Boys and Girls Club in DC, man. It was the boys and girls, the police were our coaches growing up. And that's kind of what we talked about before we came on about City Boy C-Man. My second book is Community Policing. It's a tribute to the police officers. And now they call it the Police Athletic Leagues. But I played at number 13 Boys Club right down the street from Howard University. Leroy Park is where I grew up. And I remember my mom putting me in football. Then she lied. I was like 5 or 6 years old. She threw me in football, and then I played every sport under the sun. And then we moved to Maryland, and I played at Landover Hills Boys Club, Boys and Girls Club. And then I went to Kenmore Junior High School. I'm one of them dudes who went to junior high, 7th, 8th, and 9th grade. So you can tell how middle school was just getting ready to get started. So, and then I went on to Fairmont Heights High School, played for the legendary Ralph Payton football, played basketball for George Waite, and played a little baseball for Coach Martin. So I was a 3-sport guy and played golf in high school. So I stayed after school always doing something. And the coaches have always been just an unbelievable influence in my life. But my dad died last day of school, 2nd grade. So for me, my coaches have always been an influence in my life.
Man, hey, that's amazing, man. It's a blessing to see how you persevered through all that. And where you are today, man, PhD, doing well, turned around multiple programs, doing big things now. And speaking of which, you're at Virginia State now, back in the CIAA. We had Commissioner Jackie McWilliams on this show, and she talked about the history of the CIAA and how many HBCUs that are now other conferences were once members of the CIAA. I mean, Howard Hampton is in that discussion. Considering the rich tradition of the CIAA and today's institutions, how strong of a football conference is the CIAA in your opinion?
Yeah, it was top heavy for a while. I mean, everything goes in cycles. And just looking at this past season, I thought we had the most teams with winning records than they've had in a long time. Because normally the Southern Division is where Fayetteville has been like the champ in football for like 8, 9, 10 years out of, and everyone else in that side has been losing. But Winston-Salem ended up getting a good season this year, as long as Johnson C. Smith. In the northern part has always kind of been Virginia Union, Bowie State, Virginia State. They've been the consistent. Elizabeth City had their turn when they had their run at it, and now they added Lincoln and Bluefield. But it's still a rich conference. I mean, it's still known for basketball. Everyone still wants CIAA basketball. You want to go to the CIAAs, and now they're held in Baltimore, and the basketball is still very rich in the conference. So it is the granddaddy of them all, so to speak.
Yes, sir. Coach, your team was 8-2 this past season, including that big win against Norfolk State. I saw Raekwon Smith on social media announcing he's coming back. He said he got some unfinished business. He's trying to win that CIAA chip. You got some buzz brewing now. That's what I'm saying. I know you're actively recruiting right now. What's your outlook for 2024?
Yeah, Rabbit, that's Raekwon, man, the king of the NFL, man. That's my guy. Yes, he's a great guy. We're 13 points away from being undefeated. So we're on the road trying to find those 13 points. That's what I told the players. We're gonna find them 13 points. We did a good job last year. We got in here late my first year. We didn't get the job till May 10th. And we finished 6-4. We were reputable. I mean, the year before that, they only won 3 games. So we doubled up, and we didn't have no hands in the recruiting process. But this past year, we was able to sign. We brought in 55 new faces, 38 freshmen. We redshirted 36 of them. So when we finished the season this year, and all the seniors left, and the 2 or 3 guys that went in the transfer portal, we had 92 players. And we haven't even done walk-ons. So we'll have walk-ons in January. It'll be another 50, 60 kids to show up. And we'll have a very competitive spring. And we'll sign about anywhere from 12 to 15, maybe 18 players this year, because we got good numbers. And we're just kind of plugging in some few needs. And then we'll be ready to compete next year. We're going to have a chance to be a pretty good team. I think we'll be a tough out.
Hey, I can see it coming. I know you got some busy months ahead of you. And in part why I brought you on, I had my man Jay Walker on a couple weeks ago, and he mentioned your name. He was like, Henry Frazier is the interesting name out here because it's a lot of coaching changes in the HBCU ranks. He said he turned around Prairie View, turned around Virginia State. Everywhere he goes, he wins. I want to get your thoughts about his comments. Also, just what you think about the HBCU coaching landscape right now, with coaches only getting 2 years now to seemingly turn a program around.
Yeah, I appreciate Jay. Jay, one of my old buddies, man. We go way back, and the record speaks for itself. This is my fourth lead coaching job at an HBCU, and we've won everywhere, all 4 stops, and it's a formula, and I have an affinity for taking over programs that's been losing. I mean, I don't know why. I do know why. I do know why, because when I came out of high school, I chose to go to Bowie State because they were losing. I believed in what Coach Doach was selling, and I said, man, that'd be pretty cool to be a part of a turnaround like that. And we had a 32-game losing streak, and we turned it around, and we ended up going to the Division II playoffs and winning the CIAA championship in '89. So that's kind of how my blueprint began, and my coaching philosophy was kind of infused into my beliefs of, man, if you give me the resources and I know what I need to be successful, and I look at the opponents, then I come up with, okay, if I had this, that, I can win. So I know what to ask for. And if a school say we're going to give you that, then I tell them to get out the way. Let me and as far as the landscape, I think HBCUs are hot right now. They popping, man. I don't think it's a trendy thing because we've always been this way. I've always been one of those guys that believed in, because this is the place that people was able to come when we couldn't go nowhere else. And it still stands that way. And yeah, you get the Coach Primes of the world, and you get those guys who just come in and just do some things that's remarkable. But the core of HBCU is those people that can't do go other places or do other things. That's the core of who we are, because it's gonna be that lady in the cafeteria that's gonna help you. If you went to HBCU, you're gonna understand what I'm saying. It'll be that humanities professor that tells you, hey, pull your pants up. Hey, come and see me in office hours. Hey, I have a side business. I want you to work here. It's always gonna be those type of things, and that's what we're about. And I mean, when Vice President became Vice President from Howard University, I think that set things off. And I think it's up to us to continue to elevate it. But I got 3 degrees from HBCUs. I wrote my dissertation on an employment access granted coaches from HBCU to the FBS level. That was a dissertation. It was a descriptive, and because we always quick to go into the white schools and hire people from there, but they're not as quick to come to us, to the black schools, and hire us there. And that's one of the things that I always look at. I look at it from deans. I look at it from provosts. I look at it at all levels. I just don't look at it in athletics. And I'm one of those people who I look at it and I read my journals and I read things and I just say, look at that. Because if I hire you from a white school, or I've done something great. If I hire you from a black school, I'm doing you a favor. So, and I speak out against it. I always speak out against it, or I speak my opinion. I ain't gonna say it's necessarily against it, because people have their right to pick and choose who they want to choose. But if you look at our leadership of our HBCUs, a lot of us don't like ourselves. We don't like ourselves because we'll hire that person from a white university, and if you look at their cabinet, them people gonna come from where they come from. Because you hire me, I'm gonna bring my people with me.
Right. Exactly.
Because it's a trust factor. So once we begin to do that, we're diluting the HBCU experience. Because if you're good enough to come here and pay and spend your money and come in and let me educate you, but you're not good enough to come back and lead this place. Come on. So I get on that topic, man. I talk my way out of a tenured professorship talking like this. Hey. And I'm okay with that, because the places I was interviewing, when you go for a professorship, they have you interview with the faculty, the dean, and I was talking like this, and I gave them a case study using the current president and then the current president's cabinet. Man, they want to get me out of there so fast. I was okay with it.
That's bold, bro. That's boldness right there. But you spitting facts, man. You preaching, bro. Like this is dope. So real quick, because like I said, I kind of fumbled the opening when I was trying to introduce you. You were the director of leadership and character development at the University of Maryland for the football program. What was that like then? Because you got this rich HBCU background, but yeah, you went there. How was that?
That was awesome, man. Working with and for Coach Loxley. Loxley went to Blue High School. He grew up in Southwest though, so don't let him tell you he won't say Southeast though. He went to high school in Southeast, but he grew up in Southwest, and we kind of known each other. We know a lot of the same people. We're only 1 year apart, and he had a vision, and him and I sat down in his basement and we kind of went through what could we add differently for these young men. And he was already ahead of the curve, knowing the NIL was coming down the pipeline, and we were able to come up with that title and some of the programs and some of the things that help these young men, helping them transition from boys to men, and that's what it's about. When you grow up where we grew up, that's what it's about. At the end of the day, how are we gonna help you become the best version of yourselves? And that's one of my core tenets of who I am as a coach and as a leader of men.
All right, Coach, I'm going to give you 2 more questions and I'm going to let you get out of here, man. One is, I'm just gonna ask you straight up. So there was coaching vacancies that were out there. Did anybody reach out at all to you?
They always reach out. They reach out every year, but again, I know I know what I need to be successful. And I know I'm gonna piss some people off when I go about my work, because how can I say this? I'm not one of them people that need my hand held. Give me what I ask and then get out of the way and reap the benefits. But too often at our HBCUs, we want to be in this. I done gave $100 to the school, so I should be able to tell him who to hire. I should be able to say, hey, recruit this, because I gave $150 this year. And I'm one of the people that say, all right, man, you up there to about 150,000, then I'll let you sit down and be a part of this decision making. And because I know what I need to do. So they always reach out, and I'm always straight up with them, and I'll talk to them about, this is what I need. If you want me to come here, this is what I need, this is what I need. And at this point, I'm chasing championships. I built programs. I've done that grunt work. My first 2 years at Bowie State, I was the only full-time coach, the only one. So my coaches would show up at 3 o'clock after they worked all day. So I had to get everything done, everything set. So now I think I've earned the right to have a full allotment of coaches, a full allotment of scholarships. I've earned that right. And so a lot of times the people that reach out, they reach out because they saw it. They reaching out because they lost. They're not reaching out because they're in an elite program. And they're probably sorry and they losing because they're not putting the resources in the program. So, yeah. I'm at Virginia State. I got a chance to have a really good team, and I always listen. I owe it to myself and my family to listen. And there are some jobs out there that if they came calling, it would be hard to walk away from. Right now, I'm in a great situation.
Sounds like it. Hey, listen, I ain't never met a coach like you, bro. Like, real talk. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wonder how the kids deal with you. I always joke that these kids today, they sensitive. You know what I'm saying? So you hit them with too much straight knowledge, man. They start to shy away. They want to jump into the portal. They want to quit. They want to say, coach don't like me and all that type of stuff.
I tell them, let me help you. Let me help you get in the portal. How can I help you? What you need to push on this computer? And I'm fair. I'm like this with all of them. And that's probably why in 2 years at Virginia State, we had 4 kids going to portal in 2 years. And it's like, I really want you to be successful. If it's not with me, how can I help you be successful? Because we going to win. People going to send me kids. They going to send me kids because I've been doing this too long. We did a study on social media about 3 years ago. It was over 85 kids that I coach that are coaching, from Pop 1 all the way to the NFL. And a lot of these other high school, because I started as a high school coach. I was 22 or 23 years old when I was Central High School coach. So I came up with a lot of these vets that's in the game, and they know I care about these kids. They know I'm going to hold their feet to the fire. They know if they screw up, I'm on their tails. And I'm going to pick them up when they mess up and then help them get back. I got so many coaches that's saying, Frazier, I know he ain't a scholarship kid, but I want him to play for you. Help him get out of this situation. And they know I'm going to do it. They know I'm going to find a place for him on my team. And nobody is ever going to know. They might rip me and say, man, why you bring this guy? And, coaches, that's what coaches do. Man, who recruited this? And I eat it. But them kids have gone on to become great, successful people. And only them and I know that I basically did a favor to get them on my team. And this is every stop I've been, I've done that for kids. And most of them pan out to be very successful men and husbands and fathers and uncles, So for me, that's the rewarding part.
Hey, that's a blessing. You've been an inspiration to many. Real talk. Before we let you get out of here, who are some of your inspirations? I know you said a lot of coaches, you appreciate them coming up because of your losing your father and how they impacted your life and how they impacted you becoming a man and a leader. Can you name some of those individuals, man? Just give them a shout out as to, again, giving our listeners a feel of who helped you out, man, who helped you get to this point, become the man you are today.
Yeah, man. I mean, first is my mom, man. I got the strongest mother in the world, man. That's my girl, man. My mom had me and my two older sisters before, all of us before she was 18. And that's up in the projects in DC, man. And she ain't play. You say, you like sports? Yeah, mom. Let them teachers call this house. You won't be playing those sports. So I had to get straight A's. I had to get good grades because I didn't want them calling her. So I knew if I got good grades, she gonna let me play every sport under the sun. I had coaches calling her, begging her, "Oh, Miss Harris, please let C-Man play." She'd be like, "Stop calling my phone. He ain't playing." That teacher called me, he ain't playing. Click. I'll be in there crying. So I learned early on, do what I gotta do in that schoolhouse, and she off my back. And then from outside the house, it starts with I first met Roosevelt Jennings. He's passed away. He just passed away this year. He was my boys club coach at Landover Hills, and he took a liking to me. He went to Theodore Roosevelt in DC. He took me to my first Turkey Bowl.
Okay.
And then I was going every year until I kind of moved away. But let me back up to number 13 Boys and Girls Club, Officer Swanson, Officer McGregor. They in my book. Those are two police officers that's on the front of the second book, but I didn't find them, so I used Officer Miak and Officer Swat. But it's really those two gentlemen that ran the Boys and Girls Club in DC, number 13. Then when I got to high school, man, Ralph Payton, Coach Ralph Payton. And he's passed away as well during that COVID stuff. But man, that man was like a second dad to me. I mean, I never made a major decision in my life from college on without consulting him. And he was always there for me. And when I finished playing college football, he hired me as his offensive coordinator. And I patterned so much after this man in terms of how I go about football, building the staff. He had the same coaching staff over at Fairmont Heights for 36 years. The consistency, the model, see, that's been my secret to success is consistency. You want to keep things, you want to have the same language, the same coaches, the kids seeing the same thing, the same. If you're able to do that over a period of time, you're going to be successful. And you got to believe in what you're doing. My college coach, Dave Dolch, him and I talked this week. I got a kid for you, because he's retired and everything. I got a kid in North Carolina coaching. I said, all right, coach, film, but I've been able to stay in touch with pretty much all of my coaches over my entire life, because coaches have meant everything to me. They've been my role models. They have been the people that have helped guide me, and I followed their lead. And I tell my coaches all the time, they're going to follow your lead. And if you leading wrong, they're going to be wrong. So, but those are the guys that jumps out to me and ladies that help shape the person that I have become today.
Hey, listen, I appreciate you, bro, sharing the wisdom and insight you was preaching to us tonight in the urban sports scene, man. It's been a blessing to have you. Hey, don't be a stranger, man. We'll come visit. We'll come cover your program. We'll come in person, bro. It's all good, man. Like I said, it's great to meet you, man. Hopefully this is not your last time rocking with me here on the urban sports scene, man. But thanks again, bro, and wish you nothing but success during this off season, of course, going into next football season, and for all your student athletes, my man.
Man, you keep doing good work, and I appreciate you having me.
Hey, for sure. And send me a link to that book, bro. I'm definitely support.
It's www.cityboycman.com. City, CITYBOYCMAN.com. Cityboycman.com. And you'll be pleasantly surprised with the website and everything that's going on with it.
Hey, dope stuff, man. All right, brother. Have a blessed night, bro.
You do the same.